Billionaire married his mistress to have children, until his ex-wife and triplets interrupted the wedding. Hello, father. You said mom couldn't have kids, but we're your daughters. The little girl in the middle spoke clearly. Her voice didn't shake. She pulled something from her pocket, a tiny white hospital bracelet. She placed it on the altar. Harper Callahan Brooks. Another girl stepped forward. Another bracelet. Piper Callahan Brooks. The third girl placed hers beside her sister's. Sky Callahan Brooks. 3 tiny bracelets in a row. 3 daughters. 8 years of lies collapsing in one moment. My name is Autumn Brooks. 8 years ago, I was married to Brock Callahan. When I told him I was pregnant with triplets, he told me to abort them. He said 3 children would ruin his life. When I refused, he filed for divorce and disappeared. The cathedral erupted. Guests screamed. Cameras flashed. Fiona ripped off her engagement ring and threw it at Brock. You're a liar. This wedding is over, but let me take you back to where this story really begins. Because what happened at that altar wasn't just about one confrontation. It was about 8 years of silence. 8 years of struggle. 8 years of a mother raising 3 daughters alone while their father pretended they didn't exist. Before we dive deep into this story, I need to know you're with me. If you believe truth matters, if you've ever felt invisible, or if you think justice is worth fighting for, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story will take you on a journey. And trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment. Now, let me show you the morning everything started to change. 6 weeks before the wedding, South Boston, October 1st, 2024. The clock above the stove read 5:47 in the morning. Autumn Brooks stood in her small kitchen wiping down the counter for the 3rd time. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the old refrigerator. She had been awake since 4. Sleep didn't come easy anymore. It hadn't for 8 years. The coffee maker beeped. Autumn poured herself a cup in a chipped mug that said "World's Best Mom." One of her daughters had given it to her for Mother's Day 3 years ago. The apostrophe was in the wrong place, but Autumn loved it more than anything she owned. She opened her phone and checked her bank account. $47.32. Rent was due in 5 days. $1,850. She had 3 design projects due this week. If clients paid on time, she'd make it. If they didn't, she'd have to ask Carmen for help again. Her mother had already helped too much. Autumn closed the banking app and opened her budgeting spreadsheet. Groceries, $75 for the week. Gas, $30. Electric bill, $112. She could skip buying new shoes for Sky, even though her current ones had a hole in the toe. She could make it work. She always made it work. Mom? Autumn turned. Harper stood in the doorway. Her auburn hair stuck up in every direction. She dragged her stuffed rabbit by one ear. At 8 years old, she looked tired. Too tired for a child. Good morning, sweetheart. Did I wake you? No. I heard the coffee maker. Harper climbed onto a kitchen stool. She was the oldest by 4 minutes. Born first. The leader from the beginning. She remembered things her sisters forgot. She asked questions Autumn didn't always want to answer. Can we have pancakes? Cereal today, baby. I have 3 design deadlines this week. You always have deadlines. Autumn kissed the top of Harper's head. I know. I'm sorry. It's okay, Mom. I wasn't really asking. Harper's voice was matter-of-fact. Understanding. She had learned not to ask for things they couldn't afford. That broke Autumn's heart more than anything. Autumn pulled out a box of cereal and poured it into a bowl. She sliced half a banana and divided it between 3 bowls. 1 for each daughter. She'd eat the other half herself. Maybe. If she had time. Go wake your sisters. We need to leave in 40 minutes. Harper slid off the stool and disappeared down the narrow hallway. Autumn heard her knocking on doors. The apartment had 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely big enough for 2 people. The walls were thin. Autumn could hear her neighbor's television through the wall every night. She could hear their arguments, their laughter, their lives. The carpet was old and stained. The apartment came furnished with a couch that sagged in the middle and a coffee table with water rings. But Autumn kept it clean. She scrubbed the bathroom every Sunday. She vacuumed twice a week. She washed the windows once a month. This was their home. Small and worn, but theirs. Piper and Sky stumbled into the kitchen together. Identical in almost every way. Piper was quiet, thoughtful. She always carried a book. Currently, it was a dog-eared copy of Charlotte's Web from the library. Sky was wild, joyful. She sang constantly, made up songs about breakfast and sunshine and the neighbor's cat. Morning, Mama. They climbed onto stools beside Harper. 3 auburn-haired girls in matching pajamas. Carmen had bought them last Christmas. 3 pairs of green eyes. 3 versions of the same face. Autumn's daughters. Her everything. She poured milk over their cereal and set the bowls in front of them. They ate quickly. Autumn made their lunches while they finished breakfast. 3 peanut butter sandwiches. 3 small bags of pretzels. 3 apples. She wrote their names on brown paper bags with a marker. Harper, Piper, Sky. Okay, girls. Go get dressed, school clothes, and brush your teeth. They scattered. Autumn heard water running. Heard them arguing over who used whose toothbrush. Heard Sky singing a song about bubble gum. Normal morning sounds. Chaotic and beautiful. Autumn changed out of her pajamas into jeans and a sweater. She pulled her hair into a ponytail. No time for makeup. She looked in the bathroom mirror and saw a stranger. 34 years old, but looking 40. Dark circles under her eyes. Lines across her forehead. She looked exhausted because she was exhausted. At 7 o'clock, there was a knock on the door. Autumn opened it. Carmen Martinez stood in the hallway, 62 years old with silver-streaked hair and sharp eyes. She wore a coat, even though October in Boston wasn't that cold yet. She always wore a coat. She said it made her feel prepared. Good morning, mija. Carmen hugged her daughter tightly. She smelled like the jasmine perfume she'd worn for 30 years. The scent meant safety to Autumn. It meant home. You look tired. I worked until 2 last night finishing a logo design. You work too much. I need rent money more than I need sleep, Mama. Carmen frowned. She had this conversation with Autumn every week. She wanted Autumn to sue Brock for child support. She had wanted it for 8 years. But Autumn always said no. She didn't want to fight. She didn't want confrontation. She just wanted to move forward. The girls ran into the kitchen. They shouted in unison, Abuela. They crashed into Carmen like small hurricanes. She laughed and hugged each one. My beautiful girls. Are you ready for school? Yes. Sky shouted loudest. Harper helped her sisters find their backpacks. She made sure Piper had her library book. She made sure Sky had her homework folder. 8 years old and already taking care of everyone. Come on, girls, get in the car. Autumn grabbed her purse and keys. She looked around the apartment one more time. Toys scattered on the floor, dishes in the sink, drawings taped to the refrigerator. A picture Piper drew of their family. 4 figures. Autumn and 3 girls. No father in the picture. There never had been. The car was a 10-year-old sedan with a dent in the back door from a parking lot accident 2 years ago. The engine made a rattling noise when Autumn started it. She needed to take it to a mechanic, but mechanics cost money. Money she didn't have. She drove carefully through South Boston. Morning traffic was building. Mason sat in the front seat. Logan and Tyler sat in the back. Wait, wrong names. Harper sat in the front seat. Piper and Sky sat in the back. Mom, can we get pizza tonight? Sky's voice was hopeful. Not tonight, baby. Maybe this weekend. You always say this weekend. That was Harper. Her voice had an edge, not quite angry but frustrated. Because this weekend I get paid. Be patient. Autumn tried to keep her voice light. Tried not to let them hear the stress underneath. She dropped the girls off at their elementary school 6 blocks from their apartment. She watched them walk through the front doors. Harper held Sky's hand. Piper walked between them. 3 girls in a world that didn't always make space for them. Autumn waited until they were inside. Then she drove to the coffee shop where she worked 3 mornings a week. It wasn't much. $15 an hour plus tips. But it was steady, and the owner let her take home day-old pastries for the girls. She worked the morning rush, made lattes and cappuccinos, smiled at customers who didn't look at her, cleaned up spilled sugar, and wiped down tables. At 11:30, her shift ended. She drove home and opened her laptop. 3 projects waiting. A logo design for a new bookstore, a website redesign for a yoga studio, invitations for someone's retirement party. She worked steadily until 2:30. Her eyes burned from staring at the screen. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marley Reeves. "Lunch today? I need to talk to you." Marley was Autumn's best friend from college. They met in a design class freshman year. Autumn was studying graphic design. Marley was taking the class as an elective. They bonded over terrible cafeteria coffee and late-night study sessions. After graduation, Marley went to law school. Now she was a corporate attorney at one of Boston's top firms. She'd been telling Autumn to sue Brock for 8 years. Autumn texted back, "Okay. Where?" "The cafe on West Broadway. 1 hour." Autumn picked up her daughters from school at 3. Carmen met her there like always. The girls climbed into Carmen's car. They'd go to her apartment until Autumn finished work. Do homework, eat snacks, watch cartoons. Normal after-school routine. "Thank you, Mama." "Stop thanking me. They're my granddaughters." Autumn drove to the cafe. It was a small place with mismatched furniture and local art on the walls. Marley was already there. She sat in a corner booth wearing a designer suit. Her dark hair pulled into a sleek bun. She looked polished, professional, everything Autumn used to imagine she'd become. "You look exhausted." Marley didn't waste time on pleasantries. Always the charmer. Autumn slid into the booth across from her. "I'm serious, Autumn. When was the last time you slept a full night?" "I don't remember." "This can't continue. You're going to burn out." "I don't have a choice. 3 kids don't feed themselves." Marley pulled out her phone. She didn't say anything, just turned the screen toward Autumn. It was an Instagram post, a photo of a couple holding champagne glasses, both smiling, both beaming. The man was Brock Callahan. Older now, gray touching his temples, but the same face Autumn used to love. The woman was blonde, beautiful, young. The caption read, "She said yes. Can't wait to marry my soulmate and start our family. #engaged. #new beginnings." Autumn stared at the screen. Her stomach dropped. Her hands started shaking. "When?" Marley's voice was gentle. "Posted 3 days ago." Autumn couldn't look away from the photo. Brock looked happy, genuinely happy. The kind of happiness she remembered from when they first met. Before the pregnancy, before the ultimatum, before he walked away. "There's more." Marley scrolled to another post. A wedding invitation. "Brock Callahan and Fiona Montgomery invite you to celebrate their marriage at Holy Trinity Cathedral, Boston. Saturday, October 21st at 2 in the afternoon." 4 weeks away. Autumn felt like she couldn't breathe. Brock was getting married, starting over, building a new life, and he was doing it by pretending she and their daughters didn't exist. Look at Fiona's profile. Marley scrolled to the woman's Instagram. A post from 3 months ago. "So grateful to have found a man who wants children as much as I do. My ex said I was too focused on my career, but Brock celebrates my ambition and wants a big family." Autumn read it twice. 3 times. "He told her you were barren." Marley's voice was quiet but firm. "Probably. It's his pattern. Erase you. Erase the girls. Make himself the victim. But Autumn, you can stop this. You can make him face the truth." "How?" "Sue him for child support. Show up at his wedding. Bring the girls. Let everyone see what he's been hiding." Autumn looked at her friend. Marley's face was serious. She wasn't joking. She wasn't being dramatic. She meant every word. "I can't just show up at his wedding." "Why not?" "He owes you 8 years of child support. According to Massachusetts law, that's roughly $3,000 per month for 3 children. That's $288,000. Plus interest. We're talking over $300,000. The number was so large it didn't feel real. He'll never pay that. He doesn't have a choice. We have documentation. Birth certificates, hospital records, text messages where he told you to abort. He can't deny those girls are his. Any judge will rule in your favor." Autumn's mind was racing. $300,000. She could pay off debt, move to a better apartment, save for the girls' college, work less, be present more. But showing up at his wedding? What if it backfires? What if people think I'm bitter? Some people will think that no matter what you do. But Autumn, the truth matters. Fiona deserves to know who she's marrying. Your daughters deserve to be acknowledged, and you deserve justice. The girls don't want to see him. Have you asked them? Autumn was quiet. She hadn't asked. She'd assumed. For 8 years, she'd protected her daughters from Brock's rejection by keeping him out of their lives completely. They knew they had a father. They knew he left, but they'd never met him, never seen a photo, never heard his voice. Let me think about it. Think fast. The wedding is in 4 weeks. That night, after the girls were asleep, Autumn sat in her small living room. She opened her phone and looked at Brock's Instagram again. She scrolled through his photos, pictures of him at business events, pictures of him and Fiona at restaurants, at the beach, at charity galas. He looked successful, happy, unburdened. She clicked on his bio. Real estate developer, future husband, ready to start a family. Ready to start a family. Autumn felt rage rise in her chest, hot and familiar. She'd pushed it down for so long, focused on survival, on her daughters, on getting through each day. But now, it was back, burning. He already had a family. 3 daughters. 3 beautiful, smart, funny daughters. And he'd erased them, told the world they didn't exist. She found the text messages. She'd saved them all. She didn't know why. Maybe she'd always known she'd need them someday. This is too much. 3 babies? Are you insane? You need to terminate. I can't do this. If you keep them, I'm out. I mean it. Stop calling me. We're done. 8 years old. These messages were 8 years old. But reading them felt like yesterday. The pain was fresh, the betrayal sharp. Autumn looked at photos on her phone. Pictures of her daughters. Harper's first day of school. Piper's art show. Sky's dance recital. Moments Brock missed. Moments he chose to miss. She thought about every double shift. Every late rent payment. Every time she'd cried alone in her room because she didn't know how she'd make it through another month. And Brock was getting married. Standing in front of people. Pretending to be a good man. Autumn made a decision. She called Marley. It was almost midnight, but Marley answered on the second ring. I want to do it. Do what? File for child support. Go to the wedding. Bring the girls. All of it. Are you sure? I'm sure. He called me barren. He erased our daughters. He's going to stand in front of everyone and lie. I'm done protecting him. Okay, come to my office tomorrow. We'll start the paperwork. Marley. Yeah? Thank you. You don't need to thank me. This is what friends do. Autumn hung up. She looked around her small apartment, at the worn furniture, the stained carpet, the drawings on the refrigerator. This was her life, built from nothing, built alone. Tomorrow she'd start fighting back. The next morning, Autumn dropped her daughters at school and drove to Marley's office in downtown Boston. The building was sleek and modern, glass and steel, so different from Autumn's world of thrift stores and tight budgets. Marley's office was on the 14th floor. It had a view of the harbor, a desk covered in papers, diplomas on the wall, evidence of success. Sit down. Tell me everything. Autumn told her, the whole story. Meeting Brock in college, falling in love, getting married, the pregnancy, his demand to abort, the divorce, the years of silence. Marley took notes on a yellow legal pad. Her face was serious, focused. Do you still have the text messages? Yes, all of them. Forward them to my email. I'll print them out. We also need the birth certificates, hospital records, anything with Brock's name on it. I have everything at home. Good. Bring it all tomorrow. I'll start drafting the child support claim. Marley looked at Autumn carefully. Now tell me about the wedding. What exactly do you want to do? Autumn took a deep breath. I want to bring the girls. I want them to walk into that cathedral and stand in front of Brock. I want everyone to see that he lied, that we exist. That's bold. That's risky. People might see you as vindictive. I don't care what people think anymore. Brock humiliated me by telling everyone I was barren. He made me feel broken. But I'm not broken. I have 3 daughters. His daughters. Marley nodded slowly. Okay, if you're sure about this, I'll support you. But you need to prepare the girls. They need to understand what's happening. I know. I'll talk to them tonight. That evening, Autumn made spaghetti for dinner, the girls' favorite. She waited until they finished eating. Then she asked them to sit with her in the living room. They sat on the couch. Harper on one end, Sky on the other, Piper in the middle. Three girls looking at their mother with serious faces. I need to talk to you about something important. Autumn's voice was steady even though her heart was racing. You know you have a father named Brock Callahan. You've never met him because he left when I was pregnant with you. Harper spoke first. Why did he leave? Autumn chose her words carefully. He wasn't ready to be a father. He was scared. So he left. That's not fair. Harper's voice was angry, mature beyond her years. No, it's not fair. And I think it's time for your father to know that. What do you mean? That was Piper. Quiet. Worried. Your father is getting married in 3 weeks. I want us to go to his wedding. I want you to meet him. And I want him to see what he's been missing. Sky looked confused. Will he be happy to see us? I don't know, baby. Probably not. But this isn't about making him happy. This is about telling the truth. Harper sat up straighter. What do we have to do? You'll wear matching dresses. You'll walk into the church together. And you'll stand in front of your father. That's all. I'll do the talking. The girls were quiet, processing. Autumn watched their faces, saw confusion, fear, but also something else. Determination. I want to do it. Harper spoke first. Always the leader. Me too. Piper's voice was small but firm. Me too. Sky looked at her sisters, then at her mother. I'll do it too. Autumn felt tears in her eyes. She pulled her daughters into a hug. I'm so proud of you. All of you. Over the next 3 weeks, Autumn prepared. She found 3 white dresses at a consignment shop in Cambridge. Simple. Elegant. She bought them for $85. It was more than she wanted to spend, but this was important. Carmen helped with alterations. She hemmed Piper's dress, let out Sky's waist, made sure Harper's fit perfectly. She worked quietly, sewing by hand in Autumn's living room. Are you sure about this, Mia? Yes, Mama. I'm sure. People will judge you. Let them. Carmen looked at her daughter, saw something she hadn't seen in years. Strength, confidence, fire. Then I support you. Whatever you need. Autumn and the girls practiced, walking in formation, holding hands, moving together. They practiced in the apartment hallway. Harper in the middle, Piper on the left, Sky on the right. Walk slowly. Don't be scared. I'll be right behind you. The girls practiced until their steps synchronized, until they moved as one unit. Autumn found their hospital bracelets. She'd kept them in a small wooden box in her closet. 3 tiny white bracelets. Each one said Baby Girl Callahan. Each one had a date, May 15th, 2017. She held them in her palm. So small, so fragile, evidence of 3 lives Brock tried to erase. Meanwhile, Marley filed the child support claim. She submitted evidence, text messages, birth certificates, hospital bills, bank statements showing 8 years of 0 payments. The lawsuit is ready. I can serve it to Brock tomorrow if you want. No. Serve it at the wedding. After I speak. You're sure? I'm sure. 3 days before the wedding, Autumn received a letter in the mail. Not from Brock. From his mother. The envelope was cream-colored. Expensive paper. Lorelei Callahan's name embossed on the back. Autumn opened it with shaking hands. Dear Autumn, I trust this letter finds you well. I'm writing to inform you that Brock is getting married on Saturday. As his mother, I want to ensure there are no disruptions to this joyous occasion. I understand you may harbor resentment about the end of your marriage. However, I ask that you respect Brock's new beginning. He has moved on. Perhaps it's time you do the same. If you have any outstanding matters to discuss, please contact our family attorney. Respectfully, Lorelei Callahan. Autumn read the letter twice. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. The audacity. The absolute audacity. She showed the letter to Marley. She's worried you're going to cause problems. She should be. The night before the wedding, Autumn couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her mind wouldn't stop. Tomorrow she'd walk into that cathedral. Tomorrow, her daughters would meet their father. Tomorrow, the truth would come out. What if it didn't work? What if Brock denied everything? What if people blamed her? At 2 in the morning, Carmen found her awake, sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. Mija, what's wrong? I'm scared, Mama. Carmen sat down across from her daughter. Of course you're scared. What you're doing tomorrow is terrifying. But you're also brave. What if I'm making a mistake? What if this hurts the girls more than it helps them? Carmen reached across the table and took Autumn's hands. Listen to me. Your father, God rest his soul, he taught me something important. He said silence in the face of injustice is participation. You've been silent for 8 years. You protected Brock. You let him erase you and those beautiful girls. Tomorrow, you stop being silent. Tomorrow, you tell the truth. And the truth is never wrong. Autumn felt tears on her cheeks. What if he doesn't care? What if we walk in and he just doesn't care at all? Then you'll know, and your daughters will know. They'll know they tried. They'll know their mother fought for them. And that matters more than his reaction. Autumn nodded. Her mother was right. This wasn't about Brock's response. This was about standing up, about refusing to be erased. She went to check on her daughters. They were asleep. Harper in one bed. Piper and Sky sharing another, peaceful, innocent, unaware of tomorrow's storm. Autumn whispered in the dark room. Tomorrow, everything changes. But no matter what happens, I've got you. I'll always have you. She went back to her room, set her alarm for 7, laid out her navy dress, prepared the folder of documents. Everything was ready. Tomorrow, Brock Callahan would face the truth. October 21st, 2024. Autumn woke before her alarm. 6:30. Her heart was already racing. She showered, dressed, put on minimal makeup. She wanted to look professional, dignified, not bitter, not vengeful, just honest. She made pancakes for the girls. Their favorite. They ate quietly. Even Sky was subdued. They knew today was important. They felt the weight of it. Carmen arrived at 8. She helped the girls into their white dresses, braided their hair, made sure their shoes were tied. You all look beautiful. Carmen's voice was thick with emotion. Abuela, are you crying? That was Sky. I'm just proud of you, all of you. The girls hugged their grandmother. Then they piled into Autumn's car. The drive to Holy Trinity Cathedral took 25 minutes. Autumn drove slowly, carefully. Her hands gripped the steering wheel. From the back seat, Piper spoke. Mom, my stomach hurts. You're just nervous, baby. That's normal. What if we mess up? That was Sky. You won't mess up. Just stay together. Hold hands. That's all you have to do. Harper was quiet, staring out the window. Autumn could see her jaw was tight. She was angry. Good. Anger would make her strong. They arrived at the cathedral at 1:45. The wedding started at 2. Guests were streaming in. Expensive cars filled the parking lot. BMWs, Mercedes, Teslas, Brock's world, money and status and people who'd never struggled. Autumn parked 2 blocks away. She didn't want anyone to see her old car with the dent in the door. Okay, girls, we wait here until 1:55. Then, I'll go inside alone. You'll wait outside the church doors until I signal you. Remember the plan? We remember. Harper's voice was steady. They sat in the car and waited. Autumn watched people arrive. Women in designer dresses, men in expensive suits. Everyone looked happy, excited, celebrating. At 1:30, a white limousine pulled up. A woman stepped out in a wedding dress. She was beautiful, blonde, young, probably 32 or 33. The dress was stunning, long and white with lace and beads. Her bridesmaids surrounded her, all wearing purple, all laughing and taking photos. That's her. That's Fiona. Autumn's voice was quiet. The girls pressed their faces to the window, watching, processing. This was the woman marrying their father, the woman who thought she'd be the first to give him children. If you're still watching, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that like button, because what happens next is going to blow your mind. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. You're about to witness one of the most powerful moments of truth you've ever seen. At 1:55, Autumn turned to her daughters. I'm going inside now. Wait here. When I open the back doors of the church, that's your signal. Walk in together. Hold hands. Stay calm. Can you do that? Yes, Mom. Harper spoke for all of them. Autumn got out of the car. She took the folder with all the documents, She took the small wooden box with the hospital bracelets. She walked toward the cathedral. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was pounding. But she kept walking. The cathedral was massive. Gothic architecture, tall spires, stained glass windows. It was the kind of place that screamed old money, legacy, tradition, everything Brock's family valued. A man in a tuxedo stood at the entrance with a clipboard. Name, please. Autumn Brooks. He scanned his list. Frowned. I don't see you here. I'm an old friend of Brock's. He told me I could come. The lie came out smoothly. Autumn was surprised at how easy it was. The usher hesitated, then nodded. Okay, please go in. Autumn walked into the cathedral. It was breathtaking inside. Stained glass windows cast colored light across marble floors. White roses were everywhere. Dozens of arrangements, maybe hundreds. The scent was overwhelming. A string quartet played soft classical music. Guests filled the pews. At least 200 people. All dressed beautifully. All completely unaware of what was coming. Autumn walked to the back row. She sat on the left side. She placed the folder under her seat. She held the wooden box in her lap. Her heart was racing so fast she thought people might hear it. Nobody noticed her. Everyone was talking, laughing, excited for the wedding. At exactly 2 o'clock, the music changed. Everyone stood. Autumn stood with them. Fiona appeared at the entrance, her father beside her. She looked radiant, happy, completely in love. She had no idea her world was about to shatter. She walked down the aisle slowly. Everyone watched her. Cameras flashed. People whispered about how beautiful she looked. When she reached the altar, Brock was waiting. Autumn saw him clearly for the first time in 8 years. He looked the same, maybe a little older, gray at his temples, but the same face, the same posture, the same confidence. He took Fiona's hands. They smiled at each other. The priest stepped forward, an older man in white robes. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Brock Callahan and Fiona Montgomery. The ceremony began. Traditional, formal. The priest talked about love and commitment, about building a life together, about honesty and partnership. Autumn felt sick. Every word about honesty, every word about commitment. All of it was built on lies. Then came the vows. Fiona, please share your vows. Fiona took a deep breath, tears already in her eyes. Brock, you're my dream come true. You're honest, kind, and devoted. I can't wait to have children with you, to build the family we both want. I promise to love you forever. Some guests wiped tears from their eyes. It was touching, beautiful, completely unaware of the truth. Brock, please share your vows. Brock cleared his throat. He spoke loudly, confidently, making sure everyone heard. Fiona, you're everything I've waited for. You're going to be an incredible mother. I promise to give you the family you deserve. He paused, looked around at the guests, then delivered his final line. I promise to give you the children my barren ex-wife could never give me. Silence, just for a moment. Some guests shifted uncomfortably. A few glanced at each other, but most seemed to accept it. Another sad story about a man whose first marriage didn't work out. Autumn stood up. The movement was small, but in the silent cathedral, everyone noticed. Heads turned. Whispers started. Who was that woman in the back? Brock saw her. His confident smile disappeared. His face went white. His eyes widened. Recognition and terror. Fiona noticed Brock's expression. She turned to see what he was looking at. She saw a woman walking toward the back doors. Not running. Not making a scene. Just walking. Purposeful. Calm. The priest stopped talking. Confused. Excuse me, miss. Is something wrong? Autumn didn't answer. She reached the back doors, placed her hands on the handles, looked one last time at Brock. His face was completely white. His mouth hung open. His hands shook. Autumn pushed the doors open wide. Sunlight flooded the cathedral, bright and clean and perfect. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Perfect silence. 200 people holding their breath. Then, objection. 3 young voices, in perfect unison. Harper appeared in the doorway, then Piper, then Sky. holding hands in their white dresses, backlit by October sunlight. They looked like angels. The cathedral erupted. Gasps. Screams. People standing to see better. Phones coming out. Chaos. Beginning. The three girls stepped forward. Their small shoes clicked on marble. The sound echoed in the massive space. They walked slowly, deliberately, eyes forward on the altar. On their father, Autumn walked behind them, one hand on Harper's shoulder. Steady, protective, proud. They walked past rows of shocked guests. Past Brock's mother, who stood with her hand over her mouth. Past his brother, who cursed loudly. Past 200 people who thought they knew the whole story. The girls reached the altar. They stopped 3 feet from Brock. They stood in a line. Harper in the middle, Piper on the left, Sky on the right, looking up at him, meeting him for the first time. The resemblance was undeniable. They had his eyes, his nose, his chin, genetic proof standing in white dresses. Fiona grabbed Brock's arm. "Brock, who are these children?" Her voice was shrill. Panicked, Brock opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. No words came out. Harper stepped forward, 8 years old, but sounding like she'd been waiting her whole life to say this. "Hello, Father. You said Mom couldn't have kids, but we're your daughters." The cathedral exploded in noise. Guests shouted. Some screamed. Others pulled out phones to record. The string quartet stopped playing. The priest backed away from the altar. Fiona stared at the three girls, then at Brock, then back at the girls. Her face showed confusion turning to horror. "What did she say? What did she just say?" Her voice cracked. The bouquet of white roses shook in her hands. Brock still couldn't speak. His whole body was shaking now. Sweat appeared on his forehead. His expensive tuxedo suddenly looked too tight. Harper didn't wait for him to respond. She reached into the small pocket of her white dress. She pulled out something tiny, a white hospital bracelet, faded but still readable. She held it up, high enough for the front rows to see. "This is mine, from when I was born." She walked the last 3 feet to the altar, placed the bracelet carefully on the white cloth next to Fiona's bouquet. Harper Callahan Brooks. The name was clearly visible. The date, May 15th, 2017. The hospital name, Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, Boston. Piper stepped forward next. Her hands shook, but she didn't hesitate. She placed her bracelet next to Harper's. Piper Callahan Brooks. Sky was last. The youngest, the smallest. She looked at her mother. Autumn nodded, gave her an encouraging smile. Sky walked to the altar on unsteady legs, placed her tiny bracelet next to her sister's. Sky Callahan Brooks. 3 hospital bracelets in a row. 3 daughters. Irrefutable evidence. Lorelei Callahan stood up from the front pew. She was Brock's mother, 65 years old, wearing a lavender suit and an expensive hat. She'd been smiling moments ago. Now her face was pale. "Brock, who are these children?" Her voice cut through the chaos. Commanding, demanding answers. Brock finally found his voice. It came out as a whisper. "I don't. This isn't." He couldn't finish a sentence. Autumn stepped forward. She'd been standing behind her daughters, protecting them. Now she moved beside them, placed her hands on Harper and Sky's shoulders. She spoke clearly, calmly, making sure every person in that cathedral heard her. "My name is Autumn Brooks. 8 years ago, I was married to Brock Callahan. We lived in Boston. I worked as a graphic designer. Brock worked in real estate. We were trying to start a family." The cathedral went quiet. People stopped shouting. Everyone wanted to hear this. "In November of 2016, I got pregnant. When I went to the doctor for my first ultrasound, we discovered I was carrying triplets, 3 baby girls. I was overjoyed. I thought Brock would be too." Autumn's voice remained steady. No anger, no bitterness, just facts. "But when I told him, he wasn't happy. He told me 3 children would ruin his life. He told me to terminate the pregnancy. When I refused, he filed for divorce and disappeared." Fiona made a sound, something between a gasp and a sob. She stepped away from Brock. No, this can't be true." Autumn pulled papers from her folder, held them up. These are text messages Brock sent me in November 2016. I saved all of them. She read out loud. Her voice never wavered. This is too much. 3 babies? Are you insane? You need to terminate. I can't do this. If you keep them, I'm out. I mean it. Stop calling me. We're done. Each message landed like a bomb. Guests gasped. Some people stood up to see the papers. Others started talking loudly. Brock's brother Nathan stood up from the second row. Brock, tell me this isn't true. His voice was furious. Brock looked at his brother, looked at his mother, looked at Fiona, looked at the 3 girls staring up at him. He said nothing. Autumn continued. She pulled out more papers. These are the birth certificates for Harper, Piper, and Sky. All 3 list Brock Callahan as the father. She held them up. Several guests in the front rows could see Brock's name clearly printed. These are hospital records from May 15, 2017, the day they were born. Premature at 34 weeks. They spent 3 weeks in the NICU. I was there alone. Brock never came, never called, never sent $1. She pulled out more documents. These are bank statements. 8 years of statements showing 0 child support payments. Not $1 in 8 years. A woman in the third row shouted, "Oh my God." Another voice from the left side. "This is disgusting." Fiona was crying now, mascara running down her face. She looked at Brock with pure horror. "You told me your ex-wife was infertile. You said she blamed you for something that wasn't your fault. You said she was unstable." Brock started. "You just stood here and promised me the children your barren ex-wife couldn't give you." Fiona's voice was rising, getting louder, more hysterical. "But you have 3 children, 3 daughters. You abandoned them." She looked at the girls, really looked at them, saw Brock in their faces, the green eyes, the shape of their noses, the way Harper stood with her chin lifted, just like Brock did when he was defensive. "Oh my God, they look exactly like you." A woman stood up from the back, mid-40s, professional looking. She walked down the aisle toward the altar. This was Marley Reeves. "Excuse me, my name is Marley Reeves. I'm a family law attorney. I represent Ms. Brooks." She walked straight to Brock, pulled an envelope from her purse. "Mr. Callahan, you're being served." She handed him the envelope. Brock took it automatically, like he was in shock. "This is a legal claim for 8 years of unpaid child support. According to Massachusetts law, you owe $3,000 per month for 3 children. That's $288,000. Plus interest and penalties, the total amount is $312,000. Gasps throughout the cathedral. Someone in the back shouted a curse word. "You have 30 days to respond to this claim. If you fail to respond, your wages will be garnished and your assets will be seized to pay what you owe." Marley's voice was professional, clinical, like she was in a courtroom instead of a cathedral. "Furthermore, Miss Brooks is filing for full custody with no visitation rights unless the children consent to supervised visits." Brock stared at the envelope. His hands were shaking so badly he almost dropped it. Lorelei walked to the altar. She pushed past the priest, pushed past the bridesmaids. She walked straight to the 3 girls. She knelt down, looked at them closely, saw her son in their faces, saw her late husband in Harper's eyes, saw her own mother in the shape of Piper's mouth. She started crying. "You're my granddaughters." It wasn't a question. It was a realization. Harper spoke. Her voice was cold, mature. "Yes, we're your granddaughters. We've been alive for 8 years, and you never knew we existed." Lorelei looked up at Autumn. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." Autumn's voice was quiet but firm. "I tried to tell you. In December 2016, I called you. I told you I was pregnant with Brock's children. You said your son wouldn't be so foolish. You hung up on me." Lorelei's face crumpled. She remembered. She'd dismissed it, believed Brock's lies, chosen her son over the truth. "I'm so sorry. If I had known, if I had just listened. But you didn't listen. And I raised 3 daughters alone while Brock told everyone I was barren." Autumn's composure finally cracked. Her voice shook with rage. "Do you know what that word did to me? Barren, like I was broken, like I was less than human, while I was raising his 3 daughters, working 2 jobs, skipping meals so they could eat, wearing the same clothes for years so I could buy them school supplies. Tears ran down Autumn's face now, and he was here, living in his penthouse, driving his Tesla, dating beautiful women, telling everyone his ex-wife couldn't give him children, erasing us. The cathedral was silent now. Every person listening. Some people were crying. Others looked furious. Fiona walked up to Brock. She was still holding her bouquet. She looked at him with disgust. "I can't believe I almost married you." She threw the bouquet hard at his chest. White roses scattered across the altar floor. "You're a coward. You're a liar. And you're a terrible father." She ripped off her veil, threw it on the ground. "This wedding is over. We're done. Forever." She turned and ran down the aisle, her expensive wedding dress dragging behind her. Her bridesmaids ran after her, calling her name, trying to catch up. The cathedral descended into chaos. People standing, shouting. Some people approached the altar. Others rushed for the exits. Nathan, Brock's brother, walked to the altar. He looked at his brother with pure contempt. "You have 3 daughters, and you never told anyone." "I was young. I didn't know what to do." Brock's voice was weak. "You were 28 years old. You were working for Dad's company. You weren't a kid. You were a grown man who abandoned his children." Nathan looked at the 3 girls. "I'm your Uncle Nathan. I'm so sorry. I didn't know about you." He looked at Autumn. "What can I do? How can I help?" Autumn was surprised. She hadn't expected support from Brock's family. "I don't need anything from you. I just needed the truth to come out." Nathan nodded. He turned back to Brock. "You disgust me." He walked away, headed for the exit. Lorelei stood up. She tried to compose herself, wiped tears from her face. "Autumn, please. Can we talk? Can I get to know my granddaughters?" Autumn looked at the older woman, saw genuine remorse, genuine grief, but also saw 8 years of absence. "That's not my decision. It's theirs." She looked down at Harper, Piper, and Sky. "Girls, this is your grandmother Lorelei. She's your father's mother. Do you want to talk to her?" Harper spoke for all of them. "No, not today." Lorelei's face fell, but she nodded. "I understand, but please, when you're ready, I would like to know you, all of you." She pulled a card from her purse, handed it to Autumn. "My personal number. Call me anytime. Please." Autumn took the card, put it in her folder, said nothing. The priest finally stepped forward. He looked completely overwhelmed. "I think we should all leave. This ceremony is clearly over." People started moving toward the exits, talking loudly, phones out, already posting to social media. Autumn took her daughter's hands. "Come on, girls. We're going home." They turned to leave, walked back down the center aisle, heads high, holding hands. As they walked, several people stopped them. An older woman, someone Autumn vaguely recognized from years ago, touched her arm. "You're incredibly brave. Those girls are lucky to have you." A younger man, maybe one of Brock's colleagues, spoke quietly. "I always knew he was selfish, but this is unforgivable." A woman about Autumn's age, tears in her eyes. "I'm a single mother too. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for telling the truth." Autumn nodded to each person, kept walking, her daughters beside her. When they reached the cathedral doors, Autumn looked back one time. Brock stood alone at the altar, surrounded by scattered roses, abandoned by his bride, stared at by remaining guests, holding an envelope that would cost him over $300,000. He looked small, pathetic, nothing like the confident man who'd stood there 20 minutes ago. Autumn felt nothing, no satisfaction, no revenge, just emptiness where anger used to be. She turned away, walked out into October sunshine. Outside, the day was beautiful. Bright blue sky, leaves turning orange and red, the kind of day that felt like new beginnings. Carmen was waiting by the car. She'd been in the cathedral, but sitting in the very back. She ran to them, hugged Autumn, hugged each granddaughter. "You did it. You actually did it." She was crying and laughing at the same time. "Is it over?" Harper asked. "The hard part is over. Now we wait for the legal stuff to finish." Marley joined them outside. She was smiling. "That was the most dramatic legal serving I've ever done, and I've done a lot. What happens now?" Autumn asked. Now Brock has 30 days to respond to the lawsuit. He can try to fight it, but the evidence is overwhelming. Any judge will rule in your favor. You'll get every dollar he owes. How long will it take? Court date will probably be in 3 or 4 weeks. I'll expedite it. Given the public nature of today's events, the court will want to resolve this quickly. Autumn nodded. She felt exhausted suddenly, like all the adrenaline had drained out of her. Can we go get ice cream? Sky's small voice broke the tension. Everyone laughed. Even Autumn. Yes, baby. We can absolutely get ice cream. They piled into the car. Carmen rode with them. Marley followed in her own car. They drove to a small ice cream shop in South Boston, the kind of place with checkered floors and a jukebox in the corner. The girls ordered sundaes with extra whipped cream. Autumn got a small vanilla cone. Carmen got nothing, said she was too emotional to eat. They sat in a booth by the window. The girls ate their ice cream and slowly returned to normal, laughing, making messes, being kids again. Mom, what happens if he doesn't pay the money? Harper asked between bites of sundae. Then the court takes it from his paycheck automatically. He doesn't have a choice. Good. Harper's voice was firm. Did we do the right thing? Piper asked quietly. Yes, honey. We did exactly the right thing. Even though people got hurt, Piper meant Fiona. Autumn could tell. Sometimes the truth hurts, but lies hurt more in the long run. Fiona needed to know who she was marrying. Now she does, and she can make better choices. Piper seemed satisfied with this answer. They finished their ice cream and drove home. It was only 4 o'clock. The whole confrontation had taken less than 2 hours, but it felt like a lifetime. Back at the apartment, the girls changed out of their white dresses, put on comfortable clothes, turned on cartoons, slowly decompressed from the intensity of the day. Autumn sat on the couch. Carmen sat beside her. Marley sat in the worn armchair. How do you feel? Carmen asked. I don't know. Empty, I think. I've been carrying this for so long, and now it's out. Everyone knows. And I just feel empty. That's normal. You'll process it over the next few days. But Autumn, you should be proud. What you did today took incredible courage. Marley's voice was gentle. Autumn's phone started buzzing. Text messages coming in rapid fire. She looked at the screen. Messages from old friends. People she hadn't talked to in years. Oh my God, I just saw the video. You're a hero. I can't believe Brock did that to you. Is there anything you need? Video. Someone had posted video. Autumn opened Instagram, searched for Brock's name, found dozens of posts, videos from different angles, the girls walking down the aisle, Autumn speaking, the hospital bracelets on the altar, Fiona throwing her bouquet, hashtags, Barron ex-wife, Brock Callahan exposed, wedding crashed, justice served. The videos had thousands of views already. Comment sections on fire. This man is disgusting. Those girls are so brave. The mom is a hero. I hope he pays every penny. Single moms everywhere are cheering right now. Autumn showed her phone to Marley. It's going viral. Good. Public pressure will make it harder for Brock to fight the lawsuit, and it'll make other deadbeat parents think twice. Autumn scrolled through comments. Most were supportive. Some were harsh. She's bitter. She should have moved on. Using the kids for revenge is wrong. This is between adults. Leave the kids out of it. Autumn felt a twist in her stomach. She'd known some people would judge her, but reading it still hurt. Don't read the negative comments. Focus on the support. Carmen took the phone from her daughter's hands. Your mother's right. There will always be people who judge, but you know the truth. Your daughters know the truth. That's what matters. That evening, after Carmen went home and Marley left, Autumn made dinner for her daughters. Simple pasta with butter and Parmesan. They ate together at their small kitchen table. Mom, are we going to be famous? Sky asked. No, baby. People will forget about this in a week. We're just going to keep living our normal lives. But everyone saw us. That was Harper, her voice uncertain. Yes, they saw us tell the truth. They saw us stand up for ourselves. And now we move forward. Do we have to see Dad again? Piper's quiet question hung in the air. Not unless you want to. The judge said you get to choose. So you three will decide. When you're older, or maybe never. It's completely up to you. All three girls spoke at once. Never. Autumn smiled sadly. Okay. Then never. After dinner, Autumn put the girls to bed. Read them a story. Tucked them in. Kissed their foreheads. I'm proud of you. All of you. You were so brave today. Love you, Mom. 3 sleepy voices. Love you too. So much. Autumn went to her own room. Changed into pajamas. Lay in bed. Stared at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed one more time. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk. She didn't need to ask who it was. She knew. Brock. After 8 years of silence, he wanted to talk. Autumn stared at the message for a long time. Her first instinct was to delete it. Block the number. Pretend she never saw it. But she was done running. Done hiding. Done being silent. She typed a response. Talk to my lawyer. She hit send. Then she blocked the number. She put her phone on her nightstand. Turned off the light. Closed her eyes. For the first time in 8 years, Autumn Brooks slept through the night. The next morning, Autumn woke to her phone ringing. She grabbed it without looking at the screen. 7:30 in the morning. She'd overslept. The girls would be late for school. Hello? Autumn. It's Marley. Have you seen the news? What news? Turn on your TV. Channel 5. Autumn stumbled out of bed. Went to the living room. Turned on the small television she'd bought at a yard sale 3 years ago. Channel 5 was already doing a morning news segment. A perfectly styled news anchor sat at a desk. Behind her, a photo of Holy Trinity Cathedral. Our top story this morning. A Boston billionaire's wedding was interrupted yesterday when his ex-wife and 3 daughters he allegedly abandoned crashed the ceremony. The dramatic confrontation was caught on video and has gone viral overnight with over 2 million views. The screen cut to shaky phone footage. The cathedral. The girls walking down the aisle. Autumn's voice speaking clearly. My name is Autumn Brooks. 8 years ago, I was married to Brock Callahan. The footage showed the hospital bracelets being placed on the altar, showed Fiona throwing her bouquet, showed chaos erupting. The anchor continued. Brock Callahan is the son of real estate mogul Richard Callahan and heir to Callahan Properties, one of the largest development firms in New England. According to sources, he is now facing a lawsuit for over $300,000 in unpaid child support. Another anchor, a man in his 50s, shook his head. This is shocking. To abandon 3 children and then publicly claim your ex-wife was infertile. The audacity. The female anchor nodded. We reached out to Mr. Callahan's representatives for comment, but they declined. However, social media has been overwhelmingly supportive of Ms. Brooks. The hashtag Justice for Autumn is trending nationwide. Autumn sat down hard on her couch. 2 million views. Trending nationwide. This was supposed to be about telling the truth to the people at that wedding. She never imagined it would go this far. Marley? Yeah? This is bigger than I thought. I know. My phone has been ringing non-stop. News stations want interviews. Talk shows want you as a guest. There's even a producer from a streaming service asking about your story rights. I don't want any of that. I figured. I've been declining everything. But Autumn, this attention isn't necessarily bad. It puts pressure on Brock, makes it harder for him to fight the lawsuit. Public opinion is completely on your side. What about the girls? What if this affects them at school? I'll handle it. I'll call the principal. Make sure the teachers are aware and can protect them from any unwanted attention. Carmen appeared in the doorway. She let herself in with the spare key Autumn had given her years ago. She was already dressed, already ready to help. Mia, I saw the news. Are you okay? I don't know, Mama. This is all happening so fast. The girls woke up, stumbled into the living room still in their pajamas. Harper saw the TV, saw footage of herself walking down the cathedral aisle. Mom, we're on TV. Her voice was shocked. I know, baby. The video from yesterday went viral. What does viral mean? Sky asked. It means a lot of people saw it. Millions of people. Millions? Piper's eyes went wide. Autumn turned off the TV. She knelt down in front of her daughters. Listen to me. Today at school, some kids might have seen the video. They might ask you questions. You don't have to answer anything you don't want to. If anyone bothers you, tell your teacher immediately. Okay? Okay. 3 uncertain voices. And remember, what we did yesterday was right. We told the truth. Some people might not understand, but we know what really happened. And that's what matters. Are we in trouble? Piper asked quietly. No, honey. You're not in trouble. You're brave. All of you. Autumn got the girls ready for school, made breakfast, packed lunches, tried to maintain normalcy even though everything felt surreal. When they arrived at school, the principal was waiting outside. Mrs. Patterson, a kind woman in her 60s who had always been supportive. Ms. Brooks, can I speak with you for a moment? Of course. The girls ran ahead to their classrooms. The principal walked Autumn to her office. I saw what happened yesterday. I want you to know the school supports you completely. I've already spoken with the girls' teachers. We'll make sure they're protected from any harassment or unwanted questions. Thank you. I was worried about how this would affect them. Children can be cruel, but they can also be remarkably understanding. I think you'll be surprised by how supportive their classmates are. The principal was right. When Autumn picked up the girls that afternoon, Harper reported that 3 kids in her class said her mom was cool. Piper said her art teacher told her she was brave. Sky said a boy in her class asked if she wanted to play at recess and she said yes. They seemed okay. Better than okay. They seemed lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. Over the next week, life became strange. Autumn couldn't go to the grocery store without people recognizing her. Some were supportive, stopped her to say she did the right thing. Others stared, whispered, judged. She stopped reading comments online, stopped watching news coverage, focused only on her daughters and preparing for court. Marley called with updates every day. Brock hired Richard Devlin as his lawyer. He's expensive and aggressive. They're going to fight this. Let them fight. We have evidence. They're claiming Brock didn't know the girls existed, that you never told him about the birth. That's a lie. I have text messages proving he knew I was pregnant. I know. I'm just warning you. They're going to try to make you look vindictive. I am vindictive. He abandoned 3 children. But that doesn't change the facts. Exactly. The court date was set for November 15th, 3 weeks away. Marley prepared Autumn for what to expect. The questions Brock's lawyer would ask. The way they'd try to twist her words. They'll ask why you waited 8 years. Why you showed up at his wedding. They'll try to paint you as bitter and vengeful. What should I say? The truth. You waited because you were in survival mode. You showed up at the wedding because he publicly called you barren and you wanted the truth known. Simple, honest, unshakable. Meanwhile, Brock tried to contact Autumn 4 more times. Different phone numbers. She blocked each one. He sent an email. She deleted it without reading. He sent a letter to her apartment. She threw it away unopened. She had nothing to say to him. Everything that needed to be said would happen in court. 10 days before the hearing, Lorelei Callahan showed up at Autumn's apartment. It was a Saturday morning. The girls were watching cartoons. Autumn was working on a logo design for a new restaurant. The knock on the door was firm, authoritative. Autumn looked through the peephole, saw Lorelei standing in the hallway, perfectly dressed as always. But her face looked older, tired. Autumn considered not answering, but curiosity won. She opened the door, but didn't invite Lorelei inside. What do you want? To talk, please. Just 5 minutes. I don't think we have anything to discuss. I'm your daughter's grandmother. I think we have a great deal to discuss. Autumn hesitated, then stepped into the hallway, closed the door behind her. She didn't want the girls to hear this conversation. Talk. Lorelei took a deep breath. I've spent the last 2 weeks hating myself. I should have listened to you 8 years ago. I should have investigated instead of blindly believing my son. I failed those girls. I failed you. Yes, you did. Autumn's voice was cold. I want to make it right. I've set up education trusts for Harper, Piper, and Sky. $100,000 each. For college. It's already done. The money is legally theirs, regardless of what happens between us. Autumn was shocked. $100,000 for each girl. Why? Because they're my granddaughters. Because I've missed 8 years of their lives. Because I can't change the past, but I can help their future. This doesn't fix anything. I know. But it's a start. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even asking to see them if they don't want that. I just want them to have opportunities, to have choices. Autumn studied the older woman's face, saw genuine remorse, genuine grief. I'll tell them about the money, but seeing you is their choice. Not mine, not yours, theirs. I understand. Thank you for even considering it. Lorelei pulled out a thick envelope. These are the trust documents. Everything is legal and binding. The money is theirs when they turn 18, or earlier for education expenses. Autumn took the envelope, didn't open it. Is Brock going to fight the lawsuit? Lorelei's face hardened. Yes, against my advice. His lawyer thinks he can reduce the amount or claim he didn't have the means to pay. It's nonsense. He had the means. He chose not to pay. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm on your side. I told Brock I won't support him in court. I won't testify for him. In fact, if your lawyer wants me to testify for you, I will. Autumn was surprised. Lorelei was choosing her granddaughters over her son. Why would you do that? Because what Brock did is unforgivable. I raised him better than this. His father would be ashamed. I'm ashamed. Lorelei's voice cracked. I lost my husband 5 years ago. Richard died never knowing he had 3 granddaughters. That's on Brock, and I'll never forgive him for it. She wiped her eyes, composed herself. If you need anything, anything at all, please call me. She turned and walked down the hallway, expensive heels clicking on old linoleum. She didn't look back. Autumn went back inside, sat on her couch, opened the envelope. Read through legal documents setting up 3 education trusts, $100,000 each, $300,000 total. Her daughters would go to college, no matter what. They'd have choices she never had. She started crying. Relief and gratitude and lingering anger all mixed together. Carmen came over that evening. Autumn showed her the trust documents. Dios mío, $300,000. I know. This changes everything for the girls. I know. Are you going to let Lorelei see them? I don't know. Maybe someday. When they're ready. If they're ever ready. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Carmen spoke quietly. You're allowed to forgive her, you know. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean what she did was okay. It just means you're not carrying that weight anymore. I'm not ready yet, Mama. That's okay too. The days before the court hearing dragged by. Autumn was nervous. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't focus on work. Marley came over 3 days before the hearing. Brought a stack of papers. Let's do a practice run. I'll ask you the questions Devlin will probably ask. You answer like you're in court. They sat at Autumn's kitchen table. Carmen took the girls to the park to give them privacy. Why did you wait 8 years to file for child support? Marley's voice was professional. Attorney mode. Because I was in survival mode. I was working multiple jobs, raising 3 infants alone. I didn't have the time or resources to pursue legal action. I was just trying to survive each day. Good. Why did you go to Brock's wedding? Because he publicly called me barren in his vows. He told 200 people I couldn't have children while I was home raising the 3 daughters he abandoned. I wanted the truth to be known. Excellent. Weren't you just being vindictive? No, I was being honest. There's a difference. They practiced for 2 hours. Every possible question. Every attack Devlin might make. By the end, Autumn felt more prepared. You're going to do great. Just remember to stay calm. Don't get emotional. Stick to facts. The night before the hearing, Autumn couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about tomorrow, about facing Brock in court, about finally getting justice. At 2 a.m, she got up, checked on her daughters. They were sleeping peacefully. Harper with her arm around her stuffed rabbit. Piper with a book on her pillow. Sky sprawled across her bed, taking up all the space. Autumn whispered in the dark room. Tomorrow, we win. Tomorrow, everything changes. November 15th. 7 a.m. Autumn, dressed carefully. Navy blue suit she'd bought at a thrift store and had tailored to fit. Simple black heels. Hair pulled into a professional bun. Minimal makeup. She wanted to look competent. Responsible. Like the mother she was. Carmen arrived to watch the girls. They were staying home from school today. Autumn didn't want them at the courthouse. Didn't want them to hear what might be said. Be brave, Mia. Carmen hugged her daughter tightly. I'll try. You're not trying. You are brave. You've been brave every day for 8 years. Marley picked Autumn up at 8:30. The courthouse was downtown, a gray building that looked exactly like what it was, a place where justice happened. Or didn't. They went through security, took the elevator to the 4th floor. Family court. The hallway was filled with people. Other cases. Other families fighting their own battles. Courtroom C. They went inside. It was smaller than Autumn expected. Wooden benches. A judge's bench at the front. An American flag in the corner. Fluorescent lights that made everything look slightly sickly. Brock was already there, sitting on the other side of the room with his lawyer Richard Devlin. Brock wore an expensive suit. His hair was perfectly styled. But he looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. He'd lost weight. He saw Autumn. Their eyes met for the first time since the wedding. Autumn felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Nothing. He was just a man who owed her money. She sat down with Marley. They organized their documents. Waited. At 9 o'clock exactly, the bailiff spoke. All rise. The Honorable Judge, Sophia Patterson, presiding. Everyone stood. The judge entered. She was in her late 50s, African-American. Stern face but kind eyes. She wore black robes and carried a thick folder. Please be seated. Everyone sat. Judge Patterson opened her folder. Read for a moment. Then looked up. We're here today regarding the case of Brooks versus Callahan. Ms. Brooks is seeking 8 years of unpaid child support for 3 minor children. Mr. Callahan is contesting the claim. She looked at Marley. Counselor Reeves, please present your case. Marley stood, professional and confident. Your Honor, this is a straightforward case. Brock Callahan is the biological father of 3 daughters, Harper, Piper, and Sky Brooks, born May 15, 2017. He has paid 0 child support for 8 years. We are seeking the full amount owed under Massachusetts law. She approached the bench, handed documents to the judge. We have extensive evidence. Birth certificates listing Mr. Callahan as father, hospital records, text messages from Mr. Callahan acknowledging the pregnancy, bank statements showing 0 payments. Judge Patterson reviewed the documents carefully. Mr. Devlin, how does your client respond? Richard Devlin stood. He was in his 60s, silver hair, expensive suit, the kind of lawyer who made $500 an hour. Your Honor, my client does not deny biological paternity. However, we contest the amount owed and the circumstances of this claim. On what grounds? Mr. Callahan was not aware that children had been born. Ms. Brooks never informed him. Therefore, he cannot be held responsible for support during a period he didn't know they existed. Autumn felt anger flash through her. He knew. He absolutely knew. Marley was already responding. That's categorically false, Your Honor. We have text messages from November 2016, where Mr. Callahan acknowledges Miss Brooks is pregnant with triplets. We have proof he was served divorce papers listing her as pregnant. He knew. She handed more documents to the judge. Judge Patterson read them. Her expression darkened. Mr. Devlin, these text messages clearly show your client knew about the pregnancy. In fact, they show him demanding Ms. Brooks terminate. Devlin looked uncomfortable. Your Honor, knowing about a pregnancy and knowing about live births are different things. My client assumed Ms. Brooks had followed through with the termination. Assumed? Judge Patterson's voice was sharp. Based on what information? Did he call to confirm? Did he follow up in any way? Devlin had no good answer. Judge Patterson looked at Brock directly. Mr. Callahan, please stand. Brock stood. He looked nervous. Did you know your ex-wife was pregnant with triplets in November 2016? Yes, Your Honor. Did you tell her to terminate the pregnancy? Brock hesitated. I suggested it as an option. These text messages say more than suggest. They say, and I quote, "You need to terminate. I'm not doing this. If you keep them, I'm out." Brock's face reddened. I was young. I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. You were 28 years old. You had a steady job. You were hardly a child. Did you ever follow up to see if she went through with the termination? No, Your Honor. Did you ever call to ask if the babies were born? No, Your Honor. Did you ever pay a single dollar toward their care? No, Your Honor. Why not? I thought she had handled it. Handled it how? Brock didn't answer. Judge Patterson's voice was cold now. You thought she terminated. But you never confirmed. You divorced her while she was pregnant. You blocked her number. You moved cities. You made it impossible for her to contact you. Is that accurate? Yes, Your Honor. And in the 8 years since, you never once wondered if those children existed? Brock was silent. Answer the question, Mr. Callahan. I tried not to think about it. You tried not to think about 3 children who might be alive. Children who were biologically yours. Children who might need support. Yes. The courtroom was silent. Judge Patterson looked disgusted. Ms. Reeves, call your first witness. I'd like to call Autumn Brooks to the stand. Autumn stood, walked to the witness chair, placed her hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. She sat down, looked at Marley. Miss Brooks, please tell the court about your marriage to Brock Callahan. Autumn took a breath, then told the story. Meeting in college, falling in love, getting married, trying for a baby, the pregnancy, Brock's reaction, his ultimatum, the divorce, 8 years alone. She spoke calmly, factually, no emotion, just truth. And in those 8 years, how much child support did Mr. Callahan pay? $0. Did he ever contact the children? Send birthday cards? Christmas gifts? Anything? No. Nothing. How did you support 3 children alone? I worked multiple jobs, freelance graphic design, part-time at a coffee shop. I worked 60 to 80 hours a week. My mother helped with child care. We lived in a small apartment in South Boston. We budgeted carefully. There were times I skipped meals so the girls could eat. Autumn's voice finally cracked. There were times I cried myself to sleep because I didn't know how I'd pay rent. Times I chose between electricity and groceries. Times my daughters asked for things I couldn't afford and I had to say no. She wiped her eyes. But we survived. Because I loved them. And I would do anything for them. Thank you, Miss Brooks. Marley sat down. Devlin stood up. Miss Brooks, why did you wait 8 years to file this claim? Because I was surviving. I didn't have time or money for lawyers. I was working constantly and raising 3 children. Or were you waiting for the perfect moment to embarrass Mr. Callahan? Perhaps when he was getting married? Autumn's voice turned cold. I filed the claim because he called me barren in front of 200 people. He lied about me, about our daughters. I decided the truth needed to come out. So, this is revenge. No, this is justice. There's a difference. You brought your children to his wedding. Don't you think that was traumatic for them? More traumatic than being abandoned by their father? More traumatic than growing up knowing he didn't want them? No. I think seeing their mother stand up for truth taught them something important. Devlin tried several more angles. Tried to make Autumn look vindictive. Tried to suggest she'd kept the girls from Brock. Tried to reduce the amount owed. Nothing worked. Autumn remained calm. Stuck to facts. Unshakable. Finally, Devlin sat down. I have no further questions. Judge Patterson looked at her notes. I'd like to speak with one of the children. Is Harper Brooks available? Marley stood. Your Honor, the children are not present. Ms. Brooks wanted to shield them from these proceedings. I understand. However, I'd like to hear directly from at least one child about their wishes regarding visitation. Can we recess until this afternoon? Bring Harper here then? Marley looked at Autumn. Autumn nodded. Yes, Your Honor. We can have Harper here at 2 o'clock. Court is recessed until 2. We'll reconvene then. The gavel banged. Autumn called Carmen immediately. The judge wants to talk to Harper. Can you bring her at 2? Of course. Should I prepare her? Just tell her the judge wants to ask her some questions. Tell her to be honest. At 2 o'clock, Carmen arrived with Harper. Harper wore a nice dress. Her hair was braided. She looked nervous, but determined. The judge called her to the stand, but didn't make her swear on the Bible. Just had her sit in the chair. Hi, Harper. I'm Judge Patterson. I want to ask you a few questions. Is that okay? Yes, ma'am. How old are you? 8. Almost 9. Do you know why you're here today? Yes. My mom is asking my dad to pay money he owes us. That's right. Harper, have you ever met your father? No, ma'am. Yesterday in court was the first time I saw him. How does that make you feel? Harper thought carefully. Sad, I guess, but also angry. He had 8 years to meet us, and he chose not to. So, I don't think he really wants to be a dad. Your father might ask for visitation rights. Would you want to see him? No, ma'am. Why not? Harper's voice was clear and firm. Because he told my mom to kill us. He said we would ruin his life. Then he pretended we don't exist. I don't want to know someone who wanted me dead. Judge Patterson's expression softened. That's very honest, Harper. Thank you. What about your sisters? Do they feel the same way? Yes, ma'am. We talked about it. None of us want to see him. If he changes, if he apologizes and tries to be a better person, would you consider it then? Harper was quiet for a long moment. Maybe when I'm older, when I can decide for myself. But not now. That's fair. Thank you, Harper. You can step down. Harper walked back to Autumn, sat beside her. Autumn put her arm around her daughter. Judge Patterson looked at both lawyers. I'm ready to make my ruling. Everyone sat up straighter. This was it. I've reviewed all the evidence, the text messages, the birth certificates, the bank statements. I've heard testimony from both parties. I've spoken with one of the children. She looked at Brock. Her face was stern. Mr. Callahan, I find your behavior reprehensible. You demanded your wife terminate a pregnancy. When she refused, you abandoned her. You paid nothing for 8 years. You made no attempt to contact your children. You publicly claimed your ex-wife was infertile while she was raising your 3 daughters. This is one of the most callous cases of parental abandonment I've seen in 20 years on this bench. Brock looked at the floor. Miss Brooks, I find your claim completely justified. In fact, I find it generous. The judge pulled out a calculator, calculated numbers. Under Massachusetts law, child support for 3 children from a parent earning, Mr. Callahan's income should be $4,000 per month, not $3,000. You actually undercharged. Marley smiled. My ruling is as follows. Mr. Callahan owes 8 years of back support at $4,000 per month. That's $384,000, plus interest at 5% annually. Total amount owed is $421,000. Autumn gasped. $421,000. Additionally, Mr. Callahan will pay ongoing child support of $4,000 per month until all 3 children reach age 18. Furthermore, Mr. Callahan will pay Ms. Brooks's legal fees. All of them. Finally, Mr. Callahan's request for visitation is denied. The children have clearly expressed they do not wish to see him. He may petition for supervised visitation in 1 year if he can demonstrate consistent support payments and genuine interest in the children's welfare. But visitation will only be granted if all 3 children consent. She looked at Brock one more time. Mr. Callahan, you have 30 days to begin payment of the back support. The full amount can be paid over 5 years. Payments will be automatically garnished from your wages. If you fail to pay, your assets will be seized. Do you understand? Brock's voice was barely audible. Yes, Your Honor. This court is adjourned. The gavel banged. Final and definitive. Autumn sat frozen. She'd won. Completely won. $421,000. Plus $4,000 a month. Plus legal fees. She started crying. Marley hugged her. Carmen hugged her. Harper hugged her. We won, Mom. We actually won. Yes, baby. We won. Outside the courthouse, reporters were waiting. Cameras, microphones, questions shouted from every direction. Miss Brooks, how do you feel about the ruling? What do you want to say to other single mothers? Will you let Brock see his daughters? Marley stepped forward. Miss Brooks has no comment at this time. Please respect her privacy. They pushed through the crowd, got to Marley's car, drove away. In the car, Autumn finally let herself feel it. Relief, joy, gratitude, justice. $421,000. Her daughters would have everything they needed. She could work less, be present more. They could move to a better apartment, save for college, have choices. She called Piper and Sky. Carmen put them on speakerphone. We won, girls. We won everything. Yay, Mom. 2 excited voices. What does that mean? That means your father has to pay what he owes. That means we'll have enough money. That means things are going to get easier. Can we get pizza tonight? Sky asked. We can get pizza every night this week if you want. Everyone laughed. That evening, Autumn took her daughters to their favorite pizza place, Tony's. the one with checkered tablecloths and photos of Italy on the walls. They ordered a large pepperoni pizza, breadsticks, root beer, dessert, things Autumn usually said were too expensive. The girls ate happily. Autumn watched them, her 3 miracles, her reasons for everything. "Mom, what happens now?" Harper asked. "Now we live our lives. We move to a bigger apartment. You girls can take classes you want. Music lessons, art classes, whatever interests you. We won't have to worry about money as much. Will Dad try to see us? I don't know. But if he does, you 3 get to decide." The judge said, "You have that power. You're in control." "Good." Harper's voice was firm. 3 weeks later, the first payment arrived. $7,000. The beginning of the back support payments. Autumn stared at her bank account. She'd never seen that much money at once. She paid off her credit cards. All of them. Paid off medical bills from the girls' births. Bills she'd been carrying for 8 years. She bought the girls new winter coats. Real ones from a department store, not thrift shop ones. She took them to a bookstore and let them each pick 3 books. Watched their faces light up. She started looking at apartments. 3 bedrooms. In better neighborhoods. Places with parks nearby and good schools. By Christmas, they'd moved. A bright apartment with big windows. The girls each got their own bedroom. Autumn had an office for her design work. They decorated together. Painted walls. Hung pictures. Made it a home. On Christmas morning, there were presents under the tree. Not expensive things, but thoughtful things. Art supplies for Piper. Books for Harper. A karaoke machine for Sky. Things Autumn would never have been able to afford before. Watching her daughters open presents, seeing their joy, Autumn felt peace. If you're watching this and you've made it this far, I want you to do something. I want you to share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's fighting alone. Someone who thinks standing up for truth is too hard. Someone who needs to be reminded that justice is real. Hit that share button right now and drop a comment telling me what this story meant to you. Your words matter. Your story matters. February 2025. 4 months after the court ruling, Autumn sat in her new living room. The girls were at school. The apartment was quiet. She opened her laptop to check her bank account. The balance showed $32,000 in savings, money she'd never had before. Safety, security, options. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. "Hello? Ms. Brooks? This is Angela Chen from the National Single Parents Coalition. We'd love to have you speak at our annual conference. Share your story. Inspire other single parents. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I understand. But your story has resonated with millions of people, especially single mothers who feel invisible, who are fighting the same battles you fought. Hearing from you could change lives." Autumn thought about it, about all the times she'd felt alone, about all the times she wished someone understood. "Okay, I'll do it." The conference was in April. In Chicago, Autumn flew there alone. Her first time on a plane in 10 years. Carmen stayed with the girls. The conference center was huge. Thousands of single parents, mostly mothers, all fighting, all surviving, all strong. When Autumn took the stage, the room went silent. 2,000 people waiting to hear her speak. She told her story. The whole story. Meeting Brock. The pregnancy. The abandonment. The struggle. The wedding. The court victory. She spoke for 30 minutes. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. People stood. Some were crying. Afterward, dozens of people approached her, thanked her, shared their own stories, asked for advice. A woman in her 40s hugged her tightly. "I have twin boys. Their father hasn't paid support in 6 years. I thought I couldn't do anything about it. But watching what you did gave me courage. I filed a lawsuit last month." Autumn felt tears in her eyes. "Good. You deserve that support. Your boys deserve it." She realized this was bigger than her, bigger than Brock, bigger than one family. This was about every parent who'd been abandoned, every child who'd been erased, every person who'd been told to stay silent. Back home, life continued to improve. Autumn cut back her work hours to 30 a week, spent more time with her daughters, went to school events, helped with homework, was present in ways she couldn't be before. The girls thrived. Harper joined the debate team, talked about being a lawyer like Marley. Piper's art was displayed in a local gallery. Sky got the lead in the school play. They were happy, secure, loved. In May, Autumn received a letter from Brock. She almost threw it away, but curiosity made her open it. Dear Autumn, I know I have no right to contact you. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to say this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything, for demanding you terminate the pregnancy, for abandoning you, for the years of silence, for calling you barren, for erasing our daughters. There's no excuse for what I did. I was selfish and cruel and cowardly. I destroyed a family because I was afraid, and I've spent every day since the wedding hating myself. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it, but I want you to know that I'm paying the support every month, on time, and I'm working on becoming a better person. I've started therapy. I'm trying to understand why I ran, why I hurt the people I should have loved. I would like to meet Harper, Piper, and Sky someday. Not now. I know they're not ready, but someday, when they're older, when they can make that choice for themselves, I want them to know I'm sorry, that I was wrong, that they deserved better. Thank you for raising them. Thank you for being strong when I was weak. Thank you for telling the truth when I lied. Brock. Autumn read the letter 3 times. She felt complicated emotions. Anger still, but also something else. Pity, maybe, or just indifference. She put the letter in a drawer, didn't respond. Maybe someday she'd show it to the girls, when they were older, when they could decide what they wanted to do with it. But for now, it didn't matter. Brock's apology didn't change the past, didn't erase the pain, didn't give back the years. What mattered was moving forward, building a future, loving her daughters. 1 year after the wedding, October 21st, 2025, Autumn took her daughters to the park, the same park where she used to watch them play while worrying about rent, while counting pennies, while wondering how she'd survive another month. But today she wasn't worried. She was peaceful. The girls ran ahead, laughing, playing, being children in a way they'd never quite been able to before. Carmen sat beside Autumn on a bench. Look at them, so happy. I know, we did that, Mama. We gave them that. You did that, mija. You fought for them. You never gave up. Autumn watched Harper pushing Sky on a swing, watched Piper drawing in her sketchbook under a tree. Her 3 miracles. Do you ever regret it? Going to the wedding? Autumn thought carefully. No. I regret waiting so long. I should have fought back years ago, but I was afraid. Afraid of confrontation, afraid of making waves, afraid of being judged. And now I know that silence doesn't protect anyone. Truth is the only thing that sets you free. Marley joined them, brought coffee from the shop across the street. How are my favorite girls? We're good, really good. They sat together. 3 women, 3 generations. A family built not from blood but from love and struggle and survival. You know, Marley said, your story is still helping people. I get emails every week from single parents who saw the video, who filed their own lawsuits, who stood up for themselves. That makes me happy. If something good came from all that pain, something incredible came from it. Justice, truth, hope. That evening, after the girls went to bed, Autumn sat alone in her living room. She opened her journal, started writing. 1 year ago, I walked into a cathedral and told the truth. I stood in front of 200 people and exposed 8 years of lies. I brought my daughters to meet their father for the first time. It was terrifying, the hardest thing I've ever done, but also the most important, because silence protects abusers. Silence protects people like Brock who erase their own children. Silence lets lies become truth. I was silent for 8 years, and in that silence, I suffered alone. My daughters grew up thinking their father didn't want them. Brock got to live his life without consequences. But the moment I spoke up, everything changed. Not just for me, for thousands of people who saw what happened and found their own courage. I learned that truth matters, that justice is possible, that one person standing up can change everything. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought, that my daughters are braver than I could have imagined, that love is the most powerful force in the world. I'm not perfect. I'm still healing, still processing, still figuring out forgiveness and moving forward. But I'm free, free from silence, free from shame, free from the weight I carried for so long. And my daughters are free too, free to be children, free to dream, free to know they matter. If you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, I want you to know something. You deserve support. Your children deserve to be acknowledged. And you have the power to make it happen. It won't be easy. People will judge you. Some will call you bitter or vindictive. Some will say you should let it go. Move on. Stay silent. Don't listen to them. Listen to the truth. Listen to your children. Listen to the voice inside you that knows what's right. Stand up. Speak out. Fight back. Because you're worth fighting for. Your children are worth fighting for. And truth is always worth fighting for. 1 year ago, I was exhausted and broke and afraid. Today, I'm still tired sometimes. But I'm also proud, happy, free. And that's worth everything. Autumn closed her journal, looked around her apartment, at the photos of her daughters on the walls, at the art Piper made, at the books Harper read, at the toys Sky played with. This was her life, built from nothing, built from struggle, built from love. She thought about Brock, wondered if he'd changed, wondered if he meant his apology, wondered if he'd ever be part of their lives. But those thoughts didn't consume her anymore. She could wonder without anger, without pain, with just acceptance of what was. Her phone buzzed. A text from Harper, even though she was just in the next room. "Mom, I love you." Autumn smiled, texted back, "I love you too, baby. More than anything." 3 more texts came in rapid succession. "Love you, Mom." From Piper. "Love you, Mama." From Sky. And finally, from Carmen, who must have been texting with the girls. "So proud of you, Mija. Always." Autumn put her phone down, walked to her daughter's rooms, checked on each one. Harper asleep with a book on her chest, Piper curled up with her stuffed animals, Sky sprawled across her bed, taking up every inch. She whispered in each room, "You are loved. You are wanted. You are enough. Always." Before we end this story, I need you to understand something. This isn't just Autumn's story. It's the story of every single parent fighting alone, every child who's been abandoned, every person who's been lied about and erased. And if that's your story, I want you to hear this clearly. You deserve support. You deserve truth. You deserve justice. Don't let anyone tell you to stay silent. Don't let anyone make you feel like asking for what you're owed is wrong. Stand up. Speak out. Fight for yourself and your children. Because you're worth it. And truth always wins in the end. If this story inspired you, if it gave you courage, if it made you feel less alone, do 3 things right now. First, smash that like button. Let me know this story mattered to you. Second, subscribe to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips. Every week I bring you stories of real people, real struggles, and real victories. Stories that remind us we're not alone. Stories that inspire us to be brave. Third, share this video. Share it with a single parent who needs hope. Share it with someone fighting for justice. Share it with anyone who needs to be reminded that truth matters. And drop a comment. Tell me your story. Tell me how this made you feel. Tell me what you'd do in Autumn's situation. Your voice matters. Your story matters. I'm Dr. Phillips, and I'll see you in the next story. Until then, remember, silence protects abusers, but truth sets you free. Stand up, speak out, and never stop fighting for what's right. 2 years later, October 2026, Autumn stood in the doorway of her design studio. Her own studio, a small office space in downtown Boston with her name on the door. Autumn Brooks Design. Business was good. She had steady clients, a waiting list, respect in her field. She'd built this, not from Brock's money, from her own talent and hard work. The child support paid for stability, but success, that was all hers. Her daughters were 10 years old now, 5th graders. Harper was student council president. Piper had artwork in a citywide exhibition. Sky was learning piano. They still didn't want to see Brock. He'd been paying support consistently for 2 years, never missed a payment, sent cards on birthdays. The girls threw them away, unopened. Maybe someday they'd change their minds. Maybe not. It was their choice, and Autumn respected that. Lorelei had become part of their lives, slowly, carefully. Sunday dinners once a month, gifts on holidays, a grandmother trying to make up for lost time. The girls were cautious with her, but warming, building trust. Autumn had learned that forgiveness wasn't a single moment. It was a process. Some days she felt generous, other days she felt angry. Both were okay. What mattered was that she and her daughters were thriving, living full lives, free from the weight of secrets. The viral video from the wedding had over 10 million views now. Autumn never watched it. Didn't need to. She'd lived it. That was enough. But she heard from people constantly. Messages from single parents who'd filed their own lawsuits, who'd stood up to ex-partners, who'd found their own courage. That made everything worth it. Knowing her pain had helped others. Knowing her truth had made space for other truths. She was writing a book. A publisher had approached her, offered a contract. The book would tell her full story, would include resources for single parents, would be part memoir, part guide. She was calling it Truth Over Silence. It would publish next year. She'd donate half the proceeds to single-parent organizations, help other families the way she wished someone had helped her. Life wasn't perfect. The girls still had hard days. Days when they asked why their father didn't want them. Days when they felt different from other families. But they also had good days. Most days were good days, filled with laughter and art and music and love. And Autumn had learned something important. You don't need perfect. You just need real. Real love, real truth, real connection. That's enough. More than enough. On the second anniversary of the wedding crash, Autumn took her daughters back to Holy Trinity Cathedral. Not to go inside, just to stand outside. This is where we told the truth, where we stood up for ourselves, where everything changed. The girls looked at the massive cathedral, remembered that day, how scared they were, how brave they had to be. Would you do it again? Autumn asked. Harper answered first. Yes, absolutely yes. Piper nodded. Me too. Sky grinned. It was kind of fun. Everyone was so shocked. They all laughed. Autumn put her arms around her daughters. I'm so proud of you three. You're the bravest people I know. We learned it from you, Mom. They stood there for a moment. 4 women. A family. Unbreakable. Then they turned and walked away. Back to their car. Back to their lives. Back to their future. Because the truth had set them free, and they were never going back. The end. But also the beginning, because every day was a new beginning. Every day was a choice. To be honest, to be brave, to be free. And Autumn Brooks chose freedom. Every single day. Her daughters would too, because she'd shown them how. Shown them that truth matters. That standing up changes everything. That love always wins. This is the legacy she'd leave them. Not money, not things, but courage, truth, strength, and that was worth more than anything Brock's child support could ever buy. So if you're watching this and you're struggling, if you're raising children, alone, if you're fighting battles no one sees, remember Autumn's story. Remember that you're not alone, that truth is powerful, that justice is possible, that standing up matters. You are enough. You are strong. You are worthy. And your story deserves to be told. Stand up. Speak out. Change your world. Because if Autumn could do it, so can you. Truth over silence. Always. This has been Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing that truth matters. Until next time, be brave. Be honest. Be free. And never, ever give up.